Hello everyone, it's averydawnside and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, actually like relatively the same, it just might be a shorter story time because I can't remember the full details of this, but we are going to go as in-depth as possible into my biggest fear, which I don't honestly know if I've talked about this on my channel ever before. I feel like it's bound to have come up at some point, like briefly maybe in a Q&A, but we're going to be telling the entire background story of why I'm afraid of what I'm afraid of. And yeah, we're also going to be training Lucky Duck here. If you all are a little confused and like, Avery, why have you been training this horse for 3 weeks straight? It's because these videos are actually pre-recorded, so I was getting my wisdom teeth out in March, and I wanted to make sure these videos were pre-recorded just in case my healing time took longer than I thought. Hopefully everything's good by now, by the time you all are seeing this. But yes, that's why I've been training Ducky here for literally what seems like a lifetime. So yes, anyways, without further ado, we're gonna get into the video. So I guess the first step is to tell you all what my biggest fear is. So I have like a handful of fears. Obviously there's like the traditional ones, like people in my life dying, things like that. But my like biggest fear slash I don't even know what to call it is something that's not very typical, I would think. And that is porta potties or porta johns, portable bathrooms. I've heard them be called a million different things before, but basically, if you don't know what these are, if you're from a place that like doesn't have these, I feel like they're universal, but they might just be called something different. They're basically the bathrooms that like are set up for like events and things. They're usually blue and plastic, and you don't flush them, and they're just like portable toilets essentially. And yes, so I'm like deeply afraid of these things. Like it's gotten better as I've gotten older. Okay, we'll get into that, but the background of why I'm afraid of these, are you ready? Warning, the story is kind of gross, so if you're not a fan of like gross stories, it's not like graphic or anything, it just isn't pretty. So if you don't like that, click away now. But if you are into that, we're gonna get into why. So I was dropped in a porta potty when I was 3, and you know, I don't even know where to start this story. So I was dropped in a porta potty when I was 3, and no one in my family recollects this. No one in my life really recollects this. I swear it happened. I just think everyone just like blocked it out of their brain a little bit, which like same, I tried, but it didn't really work out. So the story starts when I was 3, just a tiny tot living my life. And, I was living my best life. So my family every year in my city, we go to like a 5K walk for this foundation that supports cancer research. So we do that every year. It's in May, so it's like when the weather starts getting warmer where I live, and it's usually pretty fun. So this was like my first, I had been doing it since I was a baby, but I was 3 at this point, so this was my first time like walking it. Like obviously my parents carried me for half of it, but all I remember was it was really hot that day, because I was wearing like a big white t-shirt that the like foundation of research gave you to wear during the 5K walk, and it was really hot. It was May. I don't remember a whole ton about the walk itself. This is just the background. But basically, after that, I really had to go to the bathroom, as any 3-year-old child would. And I think this was when I was being potty trained. I might have already been potty trained. Who knew? I don't know. This is why I don't have a lot of good memory of this, because it's from when I was an itty bitty child. So Anyways, I really had to go to the bathroom, so I was too small at this point where, like, the porta potties, like, they're not, if you Google, like, a porta potty or a porta john or just, like, portable toilet, you'll see pictures of it, and you can, like, Google empty ones if you want to see what, like, the inside looks like. But basically, they're not really traditional, like, toilet seats. They're more of, like, a giant gaping hole that, like, drops into the darkness. Yeah, so imagine that rather than like a normal toilet seat, because like normal toilet seats would have been fine, but this is a very important part of the story. So I was too small where like if I sat on there and lost my balance, I would have fallen in. So my mom came with me and like was holding me, like hovering me above this toilet. And keep in mind, this was after we had already walked the 5K, which was like a 2-hour event. And this was like towards the end of it. And so everyone had been using these bathrooms all day long, so they were pretty full. So all I remember was my mom was like in there with me and holding me. Like, okay, I'm gonna try and explain this in the best way that I can. So I was sitting on like the edge of the potty seat, and my mom was like holding me like under my armpits, and like making sure that I like wasn't falling in. So I'm doing my business, whatever, little 3-year-old me, you know, living her life at that time. And my mom gets a phone call, like it just rings, and I just remember being really hot in the porta potty. Like it was like sticky, and like the porta potty was very full and like gross, and there were flies everywhere, but we had to make it do because I didn't have a diaper, I didn't want to pee myself, stuff like that, I'm assuming. So doing my thing in the porta potty, and my mom's phone ring. This is also a very vivid memory that I have. My mom had a BlackBerry at this point. I loved Blackberries. I thought they were so cool. I don't know why. I just thought phones named Blackberries are cool because like it was a fruit and not a phone. I don't know. So my mom gets a phone and her BlackBerry is in her back pocket, and so you hear a little ring go off, and so she lets go of me with one arm to go and answer the phone. And when she did that, I must have been like sitting too far back on the seat where like my weight had shifted since she let go of my one arm. So it shifted, so I like tilted back. I don't know how it happened, but basically my butt fell into the blue liquid filled with all the stuff that goes into porta potties, if you're catching up what I'm putting down. And I like fell into the porta potty. So I'm gonna paint this picture. So imagine like a gaping hole in a porta potty. Imagine a small child with her butt just like sitting in this liquid with like her mom holding on to one side of her shoulder trying to like pull her back out of the gross liquid. But like up to my, since I was like folded in half basically, my butt up to like my belly button area, like my butt and my belly button and a part of my leg, so it was in this porta potty at this point. So my mom like pulled me out, and after that I was like really traumatized. She had like dropped me in the porta potty, so she never answered the BlackBerry. For context, she never answered the BlackBerry. But if you've been in a porta potty too, you will also know that porta potties are very blue, and it's blue dye, and blue dye is very staining. So when I fell into the porta potty, I like started crying, and she pulled me out, and I had a blue butt. Like I was dyed blue. It was horrible. If anyone has seen the Blue Man Group, that's what the bottom half of my butt that had been in this disgusting itness. And like, if you don't know what a porta, like basically if you go in a porta potty, they don't flush or anything. The whole point is like you go, it doesn't require water or anything. So the blue liquid is just to make sure that everyone's like pee and poop in the porta potty don't smell horrible. So I had just been sitting in a hot, like warm blue liquid filled with everyone else's business, including my own. It was horrible. It was horrible. And so my mom pulled me out, like wiped me down the best she could with toilet paper and stuff like that. But I had gotten onto my shirt too, so my white shirt was stained like brown and blue from like poo. It was horrible. And yeah, so that's the story of why I'm afraid of porta potties. Okay, so now I'm gonna explain the background story, like what happened after that. So I don't remember what happened after that. I just remember from that moment forward, I refused to use the bathroom, like literally refused to use the porta potty bathroom at every single event. So I became like a high maintenance child, but like it was warranted, you know? So after that, up until like I think I was literally like from the ages of 3 to like 10, I wouldn't go within like 20 feet of these things because that's how afraid I was of them. But then once I got a little bit older and like I started to forget what happened, like obviously I still remembered it, but it like wasn't as prominent and I was able to like rationalize it in my head. Since then, from like 10 to like 14, I would say, I could like go in the vicinity of like a porta potty, but I still refuse to use one. And it's only been in like the last like couple years that I like am willing like to use them. But when I say willing, it's like my very, very last resort. It's like I have to be like feeling like I'm about to pee myself and it has to be the only place that I can go to the bathroom. Like I would rather pee in a bush than go in a porta potty. Yeah. So that's the story of the time that I was dropped into a porta potty and the story of my biggest fear. I hope that no one has a story like this. I hope that this is not an experience that anyone else goes through. And even though it was traumatic, it's like kind of funny to think back on and like laugh about because like who gets dropped in a porta potty? That's just so weird. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you feel like you want to, go ahead and comment down below what your biggest fear is because I am curious because mine is really untraditional. So I do wonder if any of you have like other untraditional big fears too, because that would make me feel a lot better. But thank you all so much for watching. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. I love you all so, so, so much. Bye!